When you're lying awake with a dismal headache and repose is tabooed by anxiety, it is hardly surprising if you're agonizing, considering modern society. There are terrible dangers from horrible strangers where every intention is criminal. There are counterfeit healers and ecstasy dealers who thrive because policing is minimal. There's underage nookie and lads playing hooky who lurk around corners to mug us. And there's proddies and papists and robbers and rapists with tabs or a hypno to drug us. On the street you take fright at the menacing sight of graffiti in French and Cyrillic. And behind curtains drawn, people downloading porn or indulging in taste pedophilic. Though the threats are tremendous, the law won't defend us, and don't even think of resistance. So before it's too late, let us all emigrate to a very much better existence.
Suddenly New Zealand doesn't seem so boring. Suddenly New Zealand seems attractively remote. Lots of sheep and lambs and 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 the occasional goat.
So you're lying in bed and the thoughts in your head return to your present condition. A beastly fanatic plans something dramatic to send us all off to perdition. From some part of the globe comes a chap in a robe and a headdress he looks very nice in, but beneath his jalaba this fellow may harbour a lethal container of ricin. He's so fundamental he hasn't seen Yentl and preaches demonic polemic. He wants each infidel to descend into hell with a dose of bubonic systemic. In the stage sleeper Sally blends in very well in a suitably quiet demeanour. While he's learning to fly, he is living close by in a bedsitter bus or dry cleaner. We know what we must do, cause the world that we knew is vanishing like the poor dodo. There's a good life to be had, away from the jihad, as neighbours of Bilbo and Frodo.
Suddenly New Zealand doesn't seem so boring. Suddenly New Zealand seems attractively remote. Lots of sheep and lambs and 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 the occasional goat.
Lie there wide-eyed as you try to decide which of all the world problems is scarier. The refugee crisis, the horror of ISIS, the wars in the Middle East area, or Erdogan who, after crushing the coup, has found a new ally in Putin. A sinister twosome, the prospect is gruesome. Who knows when they'll next put the boot in? Your crane fairly trembles as Russia dissembles while massing its tanks on the border. Further east there's an ease in the South China Seas, which might add to the global disorder. Don't forget North Korea, we have no idea where its missiles are likely to explode. And with Trump in power, it is our last hour, because he has every nuclear code. It's unbearable knowing the far right is growing, evoking a grim deja vu. If you're outside the norm, or refuse to conform, rest assured, they'll be coming for you.
Suddenly...
Shut up!
I've spent weeks learning that. All Christmas. Right, do you know what? I'm going to go off to New Zealand where they actually appreciate pianists and accompanists.
Lots of sheep and lambs and 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 the occasional goat. Well, it's just you and me now. I don't know about you, but I find this a very soothing chorus. I sometimes sing this to myself when the troubles of the world get to me. So why don't we sing it? Why don't we sing it together? It's very simple. It goes, suddenly New Zealand doesn't seem so boring. Suddenly New Zealand seems attractively remote. Lots of sheep and lambs, and the occasional goat. Come on, Plymouth, Sing your lustiest. Suddenly New Zealand doesn't seem so boring. Suddenly New Zealand seems attractively remote. Lots of sheep and lambs and 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 the occasional goat. Well, that was marvellous. It was alright. A bit rubbish, really. But I don't have time to do it again, because I am off to New Zealand.